I've always had an interest in public service. I mean, I'm a former criminal prosecutor. I worked in my family business where we maintain the homes of military families and military personnel and their families. I've worked on Capitol Hill, and I worked in the Trump administration. So I've always had an interest in trying to serve the public and make my community a better place. And as I said, I ran before, and I found that interacting with voters and having the opportunity to potentially represent them was something that I had a real passion for, and I thought I might be able to do well, and so I'm in the race again. You know, I've had the tremendous opportunity of campaigning now for the last 7 months to talk with voters in all 4 counties in this district. And what I hear from voters is just a real desire to see change, to see their voices heard in Washington, D.C. They talk about concern about border security and safety in their own neighborhoods. They talk about crime, and they talk about drugs that are coming across that border. I talk to people all the time that are very concerned about economics generally, and very specifically being able to afford things, being able to afford groceries, being able to afford their rent and their mortgage. They're having to make cuts in their budgets and worrying about whether they can afford things that they just shouldn't have to worry about. And so when they talk with me, they say, go to Washington and fight, and that's the promise I make for them. Well, I think the background that I bring to this, I'm a former criminal prosecutor, worked in my family business maintaining military family homes, so serving military personnel and their families. I've worked on Capitol Hill. I worked for Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa as an investigative counsel. I worked in the Trump administration working on immigration and border security. So I think I come with that professional background and knowledge of how things work in Washington, D.C. that distinguishes me from both the Republicans in the race and certainly the Democrats in the race. I have the good fortune of having been the person in this race for the longest. So I think to the extent that gives me to the extent that I've been in this race the longest, and what I think that means is that I've had the most contact with voters. I've been able to really make sure I'm listening and understanding their concerns. And I'm also happy to share with you, I just had a poll actually this morning that in the Republican primary shows me leading 56-9 over my closest Republican competitor. So that's not a reason why I'm better, but it's an indication that message to voters is resonating.